Hello, welcome to another IELTS lexical resource video. Today we are looking at 15 new questions that will appear in an IELTS essay written in response to a question seen in Indonesia this past month. If you find this video helpful, please visit my blog at IELTS.com. So, in case this is the first time you've seen one of these sorts of videos, I just want to explain how the questions work. In each sentence you'll be given 3 different wording options, and you are to choose the correct or most appropriate option. So in this example sentence we have the students protested tuition hikes at universities across the country, or the students protested the raising up tuition at universities across the country, or the students protested growth tuition at universities across the country. And you would need to choose the correct answer, and here the correct answer would be tuition hikes. So if hike is a new word for you, yes, it can mean a walk, or usually it's a walk through some sort of nature route, but often it can also mean to jump abruptly or to go up quickly. So tuition hikes at universities across the country. Okay, let's take a look at the question that the essay responds to. The question reads, some animal species, such as the dinosaurs, became extinct as a result of natural causes. Thus, extinction is a normal part of the world's evolution, and actions should not be taken to prevent the disappearance of today's endangered animals. Now the question portion reads, how do you respond to this statement? Okay, now we will just read it one more time quickly. So some animal species, such as the dinosaurs, became extinct as a result of natural causes. Thus, extinction is a normal part of the world's evolution, and actions should not be taken to prevent the disappearance of today's endangered animals. How do you respond to this statement? Now, I think this essay question is interesting because my feeling is that the essay question is designed to get the students to refute the statement. So, I think most students would find it, difficult to argue that that animals should be let to go extinct. I mean, I think that would be something that most students would take issue with. So, the question sort of directs us to kind of refute it. And I think that's kind of an interesting challenge that you don't see all too often. But, the question doesn't actually state that we must refute it. We could support this statement if we wanted to. I think it would be kind of hard to come up with evidence in support of that, but, maybe that would be your choice. But anyways, in today's essay, I've written a response that refutes the above statement. So the essay question reads, how do you respond to this statement? So please, as we go through the essay and its questions, keep an eye out for the thesis and the central theme that runs throughout the essay, and then you'll be able to follow the manner in which the essay responds to this statement. So from the beginning, here we go. I'll pause when we get to the questions and give you a few seconds to come up with your answer. There are instances in history where some animal species became extinct due to, as a result of natural causes. And here the correct answer would be as a result of natural causes. So if you chose due to would be fine, but the fact that it has the makes it awkward. We wouldn't say due to the natural causes because we're not entirely sure thus is the article that we use when we know or we're sort of familiar with the topic that we're talking about, but because these are natural causes that we haven't brought up prior, because this is the first sentence in the essay, it makes the sentence sound awkward if we have it there. So this would not be the correct answer. Because due to is also awkward. You'd never say because due to. You could say because of. Maybe that would work better. But the correct answer here is as a result of. This evidence, however, does not dismiss, delete, produce the responsibility humanity has for the endangered animals of today. Okay, and the answer here would be dismiss. Delete and produce. Produce is just the wrong meaning. It's not what we're looking to say. Delete is sort of awkward. It wouldn't fit in here correctly. Dismiss is the correct answer. The word excuse could probably be used as well. So I hope that you've noticed that in the opening sentence we sort of have stated that yes, it's true that in the past perhaps certain endangered species have gone extinct for natural reasons, because if you remember in the essay question it gave the example of dinosaurs. So we're not trying to argue that that never happened, but what we're trying to argue is that even though that happened, that is not good evidence to support the idea that all of humanity should not live up to its responsibility towards the endangered animals of today. Okay, so we've kind of taken the idea that was presented in the essay question, and now we're starting to narrow it towards the opinion that we want to present to the examiner. Okay, so I hope that those first two sentences are clear and the relationship between them is clear. Now, we get to our thesis. It is therefore refuted that people should avoid halting, avoid promoting, avoid festering the further disappearance of animals around the world. Okay, the correct answer here would be avoid halting. So what we're saying is that we're refuting the idea that people should turn a blind eye, or actually I'm just going to type that sentence, that little phrase down, turn a blind eye, which is a phrase that sort of means to pretend that you don't see, or ignore to a certain extent. So halt means to stop. So we're saying that that we're refuting the idea that people should avoid the stopping of the disappearance of animals around the world. Now, of course, we're not going to say avoid promoting. That probably wouldn't be what we want to say here. And avoid festering. Fester might be a new word. Fester is just a word that means to irritate something or to make it worse. So often it's a word that is used to talk about certain medical conditions. So for example, you could say something like the contagious nature of his wounds caused his illness to fester, which would just mean that the wounds on his body made the illness get worse. Or sometimes fester is used to describe the nature of people as a group. So maybe the anger of the people festered under the new policies of the king. Okay, so maybe there was already anger there, and now these new policies implemented by the king have caused that anger to get worse or to fester. So fester would not be the right answer here. Avoid halting the further disappearance of animals around the world. Okay, now we get to our outline sentence, and please excuse me, I'm going to put it on the next page to make it clear for us to read. But of course, in your exam you don't want to do this. I'm just doing it just for the sake of us being able to see it clearly. Looking at humanity's role in animal endangerment and the effects animal extinction will have on the future of the world will prove the merits of fighting to destroy, offset, preserve life in all its forms. Looking at humanity's role in animal endangerment and the effects animal extinction will have on the future of the world will prove the merits of fighting to destroy, offset, preserve life in all its form. Okay, so we're not trying to prove that that people should fight to destroy life. Of course not. So that's not the right answer. Offset life. No, offset sort of means to replace, I guess, in some circumstances. So that's not the right answer. The answer would be preserve. We're trying to show the merits, the benefits, the good qualities of preserving life in all its forms. Okay, let's get to our first supporting paragraph. Firstly, human activity is what threatens, how to threatening of, who threatens the vast majority of species in the world today. Okay, now, human, that might make you think person, and that might lead you to choose the answer who, but this would not be correct because we're not just talking about humans, we're talking about human activity. So to use who threatens, that would be very awkward. That cannot be the answer. How the threatening of, just awkward, doesn't make any sense. The answer is what threatens. So firstly, human activity is what threatens the vast majority of species in the world today. For example, global warming has endangered the existence of many of Canada's and Russia's glacial wildlife, such as the polar bear, Arctic seal, and walrus. Okay, and the answer here is Canada and Russia's. The other two options would be incorrect. This example debunks, champions, trumpets the notion that animal extinction is a natural part of the world's evolution, unconnected to human activity. Okay, and if you recall, so this notion down here is the notion that we're trying to disprove. So in our essay question, it had said that animal extinction is sort of a natural part of the world's evolution, so people should not do anything. We're trying to say that's not true. So if we were to trumpet that, trumpet is a word that means, if we use it as a verb, it's a word that means to support enthusiastically. So that's not the answer, of course. Champion, so you probably know it as a noun, but we can also use it as a verb, which also means to support something. So that's not the answer. So the answer would be debunk, which is to show the false nature of, to disprove. Thus, because the existence of many endangered animals is exclusively sensitive to the actions of humans, it is clear that the current state... Sorry, you'll have to excuse me, I should have prepared for this. Let's put it all onto one page. Don't do this in your essay, please. I'm just doing it so that we can see it clearly. Thus, because the existence of many endangered animals is exclusively sensitive to the actions of humans, it is clear that the current state of affairs, a policy of neglect, A new course of action simply cannot be adopted by people the world over. Okay, now the keyword here is adopt, which means to take up or to support, to use, and it's difficult to say to adopt the current state of affairs because the current state of affairs has already, in a sense, been adopted. It's already what is happening right now, so that's not the right answer. Now, in the first part of the sentence, it reads, thus, because the existence of many endangered animals is exclusively sensitive to the actions of humans, it is clear that a new course of action simply cannot be adopted by people. A new course of action doesn't really make sense. So our answer here is a policy of neglect. So what we're saying is, now the word neglect means to ignore, or like we were saying before, turn a blind eye to. So what we're saying is that people simply cannot just ignore this problem. That's not going to do anybody any good. So we're saying that a policy of neglect cannot be adopted by people. Okay, now let's get to our second supporting paragraph. In addition to this, allowing animals to go extinct can cause a variety of problems for the humanity as well, or for humanity as well, or with humanity as well. For the humanity, so we wouldn't use the and humanity here in this sense. It would just be for humanity. For example, there are certain North American bats that decrease, that will devolve, currently shrinking in number at an alarming rate. Okay, that decrease would not be the right answer. We could say that are decreasing because we're sort of talking about something that's ongoing at the moment. That will devolve doesn't make any sense. I mean, evolve means to grow and to develop into and to prosper in a certain way. So we're not trying to say that they will devolve. They're not experiencing negative evolvement. So that's not correct. The answer would be currently shrinking in number. Shrink means to get smaller at an alarming rate. Having less of these bats is leading to a surplus of certain insects. And this is producing abnormal growth patterns with plant life. And here the answer would be among. As this example shows, the natural balance of the wild is an arrangement that has a direct impact, a key influence, As this example shows, the natural balance of the wild is an arrangement that has a direct impact, a key influence, an important role to play on key human resources. Okay, an important role to play does not couple well with on. It sounds sort of awkward. You could probably say an important role to play regarding key human resources. That would be maybe a bit more fitting. A key influence, that doesn't work because we have the word key here already, so we don't want to be repeating certain pieces of vocab. So the best answer would be a direct impact. Thus, for humans to stand up, withdraw, remove, and allow animals to become extinct is self-defeating. So stand up is not correct. Stand up usually means to support something, but as the sentence is structured, it's sort of it's asking for the idea of humans backing away. So maybe, thus for humans to back away and allow animals to become extinct, maybe that would fit better, but stand up definitely not. Remove doesn't make any sense. Humans to remove what? Withdraw is the correct answer here, and allow animals to become extinct is self-defeating. As the above shows, human beings must work towards preserving, for preserving, to preserving all species of the world. Okay, the correct answer here is towards preserving. It is hoped the well-being of nature is standardized, rationalized, prioritized everywhere in the years to come. Okay, and the correct answer would be prioritized, which means to make most important. So I hope that lesson was helpful. Please share how many questions you were able to get correct out of 15, and any feedback, comments, suggestions are always welcome. Thank you for listening, and have a pleasant evening.